Hello interwebs, Nate Hills here with another bike build from my man cave garage. Today I will be building a brand new Yeti SB160. This is my current 160, my old 160 that I built in March of 2023, and I've ridden many thousand miles and have absolutely no complaints with. But I'm going to do things a little bit differently on the same frame, same platform for your viewing pleasure. I absolutely love this bike, and over the last year and a half, this is what I've spent most of my time on. Anytime I'm going somewhere and I don't know what I'm getting into, I'll just overbike myself and everything will be fine. I will be building this bike without grease, because I don't really care for this stuff and I don't think it actually works. Everything will be assembled with Modelo Special. Let's begin. Good pour, Nate. Lubrication. And put those in there for a sec. What am I going to do differently with this new 160? Well, when I originally built this one a year and a half ago, transmission had just come out, and I've been unbelievably happy with how the drivetrain has performed. I've absolutely beat the shit out of it, and it doesn't miss a shift. It's always perfect, and I don't have to think about it, I don't have to mess with it, it just works. I remember people were like, oh, it's going to break the frame and all this shit about the interface, but it's as strong as I've ever seen any interface. I know it's got lots of 1,000 miles on it, and it still works like it did when it was brand new. So I don't know what else I can do to it, but short of like standing on it and beating on it and hitting on rocks, it still works fine. I will be running Rockshox new Flight Attendant suspension. I haven't tried it before, I've never ridden it at all, so these will be my first impressions straight away. A good use case for this, I always thought it was kind of, just for maybe racing, XC racing applications or whatever, but this year I was filming Trans BC, and I'm like, faffing with my cameras at the start and paying attention to doing my job, and I'm like forgetting to unlock my suspension. So like I get halfway down one of the harder runs of my life, and I'm like, oh sweet, like my shock's locked out. You can say it's unnecessary, it's a luxury to have batteries doing things for your suspension, but that's a use case where that actually would have helped me out a lot. And I found myself doing that 3 or 4 times this year during that 6-day race. So yeah, when you're kind of lost for focus and you forget to put your bike in party mode, the battery will do that for you. So for me, that's kind of sweet, because I'm always faffing with cameras, usually 2, sometimes there's a drone involved, lots of things going on. If I don't have to think about my suspension and it just knows what I'm supposed to be doing, then that makes my life easier. Another difference on this bike is I'm putting Mavens on here. I've been running these on my downhill bike and my e-bike for a good long time now, and these are the best brakes that have ever lived. You honestly have to recalibrate your brain when you run them so that you do not die when you grab the front brake and go over the bars. Once you get used to the power, it's the best thing ever in the world. When you switch to a lesser brake like a code, even though codes are very adequate, the difference is laughable, and you have to sort of recalibrate your brain. But these things, I don't even know how to explain it. It's the biggest game changer. It eliminates hand pump fatigue. You don't get tired on 3,000 foot descents. You just ride your bike, and it makes it more fun. And once you downsize your rotors, because you have to, or they're way too powerful, then they're actually the same weight as a code, or even a little bit lighter. Let's talk about tires real quick. WTB was kind enough to send me some tires to test, and I've been running them all summer on all my bikes and got a pretty good feel for things. Big fan of the Vigilante. I've also run the Judge and the Verdict on all of my other bikes too, to kind of test as a front and rear combo. Those tires are great, and they're durable, and I haven't been able to flat them, and they're sick. But for whatever reason, I'm a Vigilante fan. I can run these front and rear, and they're super predictable in all conditions. Wherever I go, they'll be sweet. On rock, in mud, This tire weighs 1,650 grams. It's super heavy, but I will take that over a flat tire any day. So nice stiff sidewall. These things actually grip. They have a pretty soft compound, and the traction is as good as I've had from any tire that I've ridden ever. Front and rear Vigilante. You can ask Marco Osborne. He seems to ride pretty fast when he wants to. It's his go-to tire, and I wouldn't argue with that guy. I wouldn't wrestle him either. He might be onto something, and I think that's going to be my setup for pretty much all my bigger smash wagon bikes. I just want to let my bike buck and not worry about getting flats, and it feels sick. So that's what I'm going to do. Ergon has released these GDH Team grips, and I have been running these on the bikes. These are a little bit softer rubber compound, a little bit fatter, and a little more comfy. You know, kind of soak up the bumps a little bit more. And I've always liked thin grips, but for whatever reason, I do enjoy how these things feel, and I've been running these on my bigger smashy bikes this year. I don't know what else to tell you. Reverb. I've gone through a lot of beer phases in my life, but this summer I kind of got on a Mexican beer kick. IPAs, I was really keen for a couple of years. I go back and forth, but now they just kind of give me a headache after like half a beer, so I can't drink them. But Mexican beer, pretty hard to beat and pretty refreshing after a ride. And they're really low octane, so I won't be so hammered halfway through this bike build after drinking 2 beers. For better or for worse. All the new Yetis have threaded bottom brackets, which is a welcome change for lots of people. As stated, that's not where that goes. Fortunately, we don't need those spacers. Everything is going to be assembled with Modelo instead of grease. I find that it's works really good in this application. Oh, look how smooth it's going in. Yeah. I'll be curious to see if this lasts longer than the SRAM butter that I've previously used on builds. I actually got the right tool to install, because last time I just used a big pipe wrench, which turns out works just fine. But since we're not using grease, might as well use the right tool. I'm still not going to use a torque wrench because that's the right torque. The Flight Attendant has a pedal sensor that it communicates with that lives inside of the pedal spindle. Information from your pedals is fed into the algorithm that talks with your suspension. So I hope it's waterproof. Man, things go together nicely with some proper lubrication. Headset bearings, I'm just going to go ahead and put those in there for a sec. Sometimes you lose a bearing in your beer glass. Spacers, bearings, all sorts of shit in my beer. Okay. Make the saw run a little smoother. That really helps the star nut install go smoothly. A 180 Zeb going on this rig. Same height as I run on my current rig, and I think that feels just right, honestly. Add in 40 mil stem. Let's see if I cut that right. Just barely. Make sure you lube your stem bolts. 760 width, 9x5, true native descendant carbon bar. I do run my bars a little Chicago, so I'm gonna roll them forward just a hair. Personal preference, I don't know how I got in that habit, but this is the only part that I really use my torque wrench on, because you don't want to break your handlebars, kids. Yep, so Ergon GDH teams, I think some of the downhill athletes were asking for a little bit softer offering and grip, so it seems as though Ergon complied and made a thicker, softer, really comfortable grip. This is the correct way to install the Ergon logo. I know the Germans are watching, so do that right for the Germans. Even though I'm not drinking a Pilsner. So for sealant in my WTB tires, I will be running Modelo. I find that half a beer works pretty good to keep tires from flatting. If you do flat, you actually get a taste of the beverage. And these tires are so robust that I can't get them on by hand. So I'm gonna pinch flat my rim strip with this tire lever, but the beer is gonna take care of that. With Mavens, I am actually downsizing my rotors. I was running a 220-200 on my previous 160, so I'm going to go down to 200 180 in the rear. Everybody's favorite item, the cassette. Such a work of art it is. Many beauties. I don't know what you're supposed to put on here, but seems like anti-seize works pretty good. And then if you pour just a little Modelo, ooh, just a little, then it goes on pretty well, I find. Sketch. So this is a SM Ergon Enduro saddle. It has titanium rails, super blingy, super comfy, seems durable. When you run out of talent and fall down, it doesn't break off. There isn't a whole lot more to say about it, and that's a good thing because I feel like a saddle is something that you don't really want to think about. You just want to sit on it and ride your bike, and if you're thinking about it, there's probably something wrong with it. I don't wear chamois very often. I'm pretty much raw dogging this thing, and it feels great. I know you've seen a million videos to this point of people standing on the derailleur and smashing it with. You can do this. Whatever. You can be a complete asshole, be sprinting uphill, do the roughest terrain possible in shift, and everything is fine. Everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be fine. Modelo. Man, this thing's going through a lot of lube. Recycle. Always lube your axles. To not do that would be an error. You always want to lube your axles. Quick release. I'm not sure what happened there. I think it's going to be okay. I'm going to try my best to rip it off on a rock or something, but weird. Seems like it holds the wheel on. That's what we're looking for. Modelo on my phone. The app told me to cut this to 1/16 for my bike type chainring size. Goodbye. I do recycle all my metal, I'll have you know. So, not just going in the lake, like the batteries when you're done with them, like the carbon frames. Alright, let's talk about batteries. So many batteries, I know. I have heard lots of people complaining about, I want less batteries on my bike because I ride my bike to escape technology. That's what they just typed in on their iPhone on Pink Bike comments. Anyway, I don't have any problem charging batteries. what you do is you get one of these handy dandy 4-packs and you can do all 4 at once. The C-post battery lasts really long, like a couple weeks. Derailleur battery maybe lasts a week. I think the suspension is going to cycle more, so it's probably going to use a little more juice, but as long as you keep these things charged, you'll be fine. And you carry an extra one in your pack instead of a extra derailleur cable, and you'll be fine. If one dies, you can switch them around, you'll be fine. My phone has never died in my life. I somehow am able to keep it charged. I own 10 cameras, so all I do is charge batteries, so to me this is like just another thing, and it's fine. And rant. And just like that, through the magic of transmission, it shifts perfectly. What a time to be alive. Come on, little guy. I will say that I appreciate the cable exit on the Mavens. It's what you would call a mid-exit, as opposed to the Code's stealths that aim back at the bar. That keeps things pretty tight and tidy, but I never really got on with that. Full style brakes used to come like down like that, so this is the mid, and that's the stealth going back in. So I definitely am a fan of how these Mavens are spec'd in the middle, because it just makes the riding that much easier and still looks clean and tidy. And yeah, I think that's a good place that SRAM has landed with that. I'm suspecting that the inward stuff was meant for the dreaded headset cable routing, which everyone wants to kill with fire, and I'm probably in that camp too. I don't really care, but it doesn't look that cool to me, so hanging lines. You can just feel that power strapping on. Hot damn. It's worth mentioning as we route the brake cables how nice Yeti has made all the routing on this frame. There used to be a day when things would vibrate in your frame and you basically want to throw your bike like a small child. Those days are gone. It's dead quiet and it has all these nice little captures. You run the cable through, you close the port, everything's tight, doesn't make noise. Everything looks nice and tidy, cockpit-wise. I'm pretty happy with that. Hey look, my batteries are charged. Yay! Don't complain about batteries, they're so easy. If you can't keep your batteries charged, how the hell are you gonna ride your bike scandalously fast down the hill? These are easy. Ooh, these are easy things. Ooh, blinky lights. On a bike like this, I want it to be efficient on the uphills because it is a bit of a pig. It pedals great because it's a Yeti, but any sort of efficiency I can gain on like flatter, smoother climbs when I'm doing big days in the mountains or racing or whatever, I mean, why not? And if I don't have to reach down and hit a switch and it just knows what to do, even better. It's such an interesting technology and it's so complicated, algorithm-based tech, yet it makes the ride more simple. So it's like all this complication, but really, once you have it set up properly, you just turn your brain off and ride your bike. And people are like, I'm trying to get away from technology, that's why I ride my bike. But like, this is the answer to that. You set it up and you don't do anything, and as long as your batteries are charged, you just ride your bike, and you don't have to think about anything. You don't have to remember to open the switch at the top of the climb, or lock it out when you're doing some bullshit road climb to get to a cool descent. You just ride your bike. There's a pedal sensor, there's sensors in the shock and the fork, and it's all part of the Axis ecosystem. So seat post, derailleur, shifters, suspension, crank, it's all talking and compiling information. You can have it so that it understands how you ride and adapts accordingly based on your power that you're putting in. It knows when you're sprinting, it knows when you're chilling, it knows when you're riding, and it makes compression adjustments accordingly. So the more you ride this thing, the more it learns from your riding and adapts to your style of riding. Another really cool thing is that in the Axis app, where you set all this stuff up, you can configure your shifting to go anywhere you want it, your seat post dropper to go anywhere you want it, flight attendant override to go anywhere you want it. So if you want to just hit a button and override this thing thinking for itself and go to a set parameter that you have set in the app, you can make it do that. You could make this button completely lock your bike out, or you can make this button completely open on your suspension and stop thinking for you. So if you get into a situation where you just want it to go to your set parameter, you can set that right here, or you can put that right here, or wherever you want. In the app, you can put your shifting on either side, you can put your seat post on either side, and you can put your flight attendant override anywhere you want it, depending on your hands and how you ride, and maybe your other bikes. Maybe you want to feel like your road bike, maybe you want to feel like your other mountain bikes, whatever. I hate to make the comparison, but it's almost like Apple. It's like, it's expensive technology, it's rad, it's flashy and shiny, and it works really good. Like AirDrop, like try to airdrop something to your buddy with his Android. He's like, oh, I can't get your airdrop. It's the same kind of idea here. All this stuff works together. One big happy family. Everything's clean and tidy. It all lives happily together in the Axis ecosystem. All the whatever marketing spiel aside, like, I'm excited to try a new product. I love technology. I'm a believer in advancements to bicycles. I don't want to hold anything back. This is the next step, the future, going forward. The more things are learning and adapting and making your ride better without me having to like process it, that's a step in the right direction. And it simplifies, even though it's complex algorithm technology, it simplifies the ride at the end of the day. Turn the brain off, ride the bike. That's pretty much where I'm at, and I'm stoked. I'm stoked to get my head around this new system and play with it and hear little robot sounds when I ride. Just to be fully transparent about this stuff, I'm on year 11 with Yeti. I work with Yeti, as do I work with all of the other brands that I represent on this bike. I try to be pretty real with all this stuff, but just know that all this is given to me, so take all this with a grain of salt. But that said, like, I choose to work with these companies. I do believe they make the best products. Yeah, so thanks to Yeti and SRAM and Rockshox and Zip. And thanks to WTB for kicking in some tires. Thanks to Ergon for keeping the ass and the hands where they need to be. And if you want to purchase anything for your bike, you should try to support my friends at Worldwide Cyclery. I think that they're the most knowledgeable bike shop. They're super cool dudes. I've hung out with them a handful of times, ridden bikes together. Look for me riding this thing in the coming weeks on fresh episodes of FollowCamFriday. Listen closely and see if you can hear the robots doing things as I'm smoothly riding down the trail without flipping switches for my... I bought these Modelos at the liquor store. I have no affiliation with Modelo Especial. I've dipped so many parts in this that I probably shouldn't drink it. I don't know, tastes the same. Warm, cold, flat. It's Modelo. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like the smash button, do the YouTube bullshit, hit a subscribe, something, whatever. Ask me dumb questions in the comments, leave me some hate. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you.